Well, good afternoon everyone. Depending on when you choose to watch this video, there's currently only a few days left until we finally get the third episode of The Walking Dead, the final season, after waiting just under a third of a year. Thanks to the incredible people over at Skybound Games, and also Epic Games, we will be able to see Clementine's legendary story come to an end sometime this year, maybe in March or April as a guess. However, getting back on topic, a brand new trailer was released on Monday to hype up episode 3 of the final season, interestingly named Broken Toys. Also, I might as well mention now quickly that spoilers do lie ahead in this video. The aforementioned trailer, some leaked screenshots, and even some comments from the staff themselves will feature in this video. But anyways, seeing as some of you enjoyed the theory video I made a while back surrounding 10 drawings and readings, which I'll probably leave in the description below if you would like to check that out, I thought I'd make another video on the final season where I discuss parts of the trailer and also theorise and predict what I think will happen in preparation for the new episode that will be released on Tuesday. Before I get started, I just wanted to quickly point out the potential that this episode has. I've been desperate for this to happen for a long time, but it does seem like the upcoming episode will finally have a lot more unique scenes and moments depending on previous choices made. Thankfully, Kent Moodle, creative director of the final season, has also supported us with this answer. Now, I was originally planning on doing a breakdown video of the entire trailer, but I guess the last thing anyone wants is yet another person talking about how badass Clem looks in this scene, the fact that Delta is on a boat, or even Minerva finally getting her introduction, to name some examples. Instead, I'll just post the bits that I want to discuss in a lot more detail, and also some parts that I don't think have been discussed a lot. So if you do want to watch the whole trailer first, which I guess I would recommend, I'll also hopefully leave that in the description below for you to watch too. But anyways, here we go. Despite losing it in the forest in the previous episode, AJ finally has his gun back. I guess Abel had it on him before. What's most interesting to me about this little scene is the fact that AJ no longer has any bullets on him. He found 2 bullets back at the train station and used the first to kill Marlon. To my knowledge, I don't believe the gun has been fired since. In every instance we see AJ play with his revolver, it's clearly shown that he no longer has any bullets. However, this wider shot from later in the trailer stands out to me. While AJ is still playing with his gun, it's the only time we see this from a different and more wider perspective, if that even makes sense to you. I decided to concentrate on his revolver and zoomed in during the scene and noticed a different light reflection on the gun. Hopefully you can see it here too. Perhaps this little zooming in that I've done is actually there to perhaps show that he does have an extra bullet on him. If I'm being honest, I wouldn't be surprised if one of the first choices you have to make is to let either AJ or even Clementine kill or at least injure Abel during the interrogation scene. The former could have dibs after all.
You don't need to watch this. I want to.
I know this has been commented on a lot, but I just love the parallels here between Clementine, AJ and Abel, and also that scene in Season 2 involving Clementine, Kenny and Carver. What is interesting though is that we as the player get to choose whether or not Clementine stays to watch Carver's death or if she leaves, but we do not get to control AJ in this situation. So it seems like we'll have to make a decision to either let him stay during the interrogation, or more interestingly, AJ will decide for himself. Remember, the choices that we make will shape the person that he will become.
Alright, what's the plan?
It's important to note here that the entire trailer and leaked screenshots seem to be following one single path where Lewis was saved and Violet was captured in episode 2.
Our only hope is to distract them while we sneak on board.
A lot of people seem to have missed this, but here's Violet being ordered by Celine here. It's a nice little detail.
So you can understand what you're asking. If you want my help, try and walk with them.
I'm surprised that this bit hasn't received more attention. I know the scenes fly by quickly, but in the first bit we can clearly see James's left arm with a bloody bandage, and in the next one there's nothing there. It's small details like this why I love trailers, since it's so easy to throw fans off. Also, I may as well mention now that James's wound was also mentioned, I guess, in this leaked screenshot that you can see on the screen right now.
There are 3 kind of eyes, Clem. There are live people eyes, and there's monsters eyes. And then there are live people eyes right as you kill them, like you blew a candle out.
Honestly, I just love this quote. It makes AJ sound like an absolute badass. I'll quickly mention that I think Violet's inclusion here is the only bit that differs from the choice at the end of episode 2 that we've seen in both the trailers and also the screenshots. It seems like both Lewis and Violet had to be included here due to their importance to Clementine's story, so I imagine that both of these will be determinant scenes depending on who you decided to save. More importantly, the last bit of the quote actually does sound rather important. How would AJ know what a person's eyes would look like just before you kill them? He killed Marlon with his back turned, and apart from that, he hasn't killed anyone else. My guess is that this is either a determinant quote based on if he does kill Abel in the interrogation scene, or it may even be a reference to whatever happened at the McCarroll Ranch. From what we know, this hasn't been mentioned whatsoever in the trailers or even the leaks, from what we've seen.
Here we go.
Well, from this, it does seem like we'll have to make a decision on how we decide to get into the Delta. We could become a Whisperer like James will probably advise, or we could go down a different route of using the Walker guts to become a Walker ourselves to sneak our way in.
The only way you're gonna save your people is to let us take them.
I've seen quite a few people say that this is Minerva talking, but to me it makes a lot more sense if it was Lily. Why would Minerva refer to a group including a current or former, girlfriend, and also a brother as your group? Also, there's a leaked screenshot showing Lily in this exact same room with Clementine. Perhaps this could even be the start of a redemption story for Lily.
The only way you're gonna save your people is to let us take them.
Ah, here we are. It's that scene. Honestly, I have no idea what to say about this scene in particular. Initially, when I saw the trailer for the first time, I thought this was Clementine's reaction to another person's death, or maybe even an explosion that happened. But now that I've seen a lot of people speculate that this could potentially be the moment where Clementine gets bit herself, does make me feel a little bit anxious. However, I'd like to offer you a potentially very different explanation about what this little scene could actually be. The use of the colour red on Clementine's face to her right, or at least our right, but it would be her left, does seem pretty important here. I doubt anyone has any blood torches lying around, so the only explanation for this really does seem to be fire. We've seen shades of red used very well throughout the season so far, but this particular scene could actually be in reference to what really happened at the McCarroll Ranch. During Clementine's nightmare sequence, which we saw in the previous episode, we saw her wearing the exact same clothes, and the colour red was also used quite frequently. Considering the fact that the developers confirmed we'll find out more about what happened, maybe this episode, and maybe even this scene in fact, could actually be us finding out the truth of what really happened here. Perhaps we'll be able to play through this scene like we did in A New Frontier during Clementine's flashbacks.
Hey, Sweet Pea.
Oh, Lee. I really do miss Lee. I have no idea what's going on in this scene. I guess it'll be a dream sequence of some sorts, when Clementine gets knocked out for example, but I honestly can't wait to see what happens in this scene, and also for Lee to deliver this speech.
Time to go, Clementine. You've got people that need you.
Moving on from the trailer, there were more leaked screenshots, and there's also the leaked achievements too, which I guess gives us a better indication of what's potentially going to happen in this episode. For example, it's pretty clear in this screenshot that Willie is going to be very annoyed at 10, since Mitch essentially sacrificed himself to save him. It seems like the gang will all leave Erickson to try and save Omar, Asim, and also the character you didn't save at the end of the episode too. And in this screenshot we can see Lewis and Clementine hugging each other with a torch being shown in the background. They could potentially get captured here, and could link back to what I said just before in the trailer where Clementine could get knocked out, thus initiating this Lee flashback or dream sequence. For me personally, the most interesting leaked screenshots are the ones that I assume will all take place at the Delta. First, we have this incredible picture of a potential standoff between Lily and Clementine. We also see this room at this point in the trailer. Clementine being in this room could definitely fuel what I said previously about the gang being captured in some capacity. To fuel this speculation further, the next screenshot shows Clementine meeting Violet, which I guess you can assume will be the first time they meet since she got captured in this playthrough. Again, I guess this is all happening in the same room, or at least very near to each other. The wallpaper in this room is identical to what we saw in the aforementioned Lily screenshot. Finally, we have an amazing visual of AJ pointing a finger gun, which we also saw in the teaser trailer. This definitely looks more like a threat being made by AJ rather than another one of those Walker lullabies that Clementine taught him. It's also interesting to note that AJ has a cut on his face here. Maybe he was attacked by a Delta member. Also, I'm not entirely sure if it's a design flaw or a slight change in the script, but in the screenshot it looks like AJ is in this room that we saw Violet in, considering the boxes that are on the floor. But in the teaser trailer it looks like AJ is standing up against a brick wall, so I'm not quite sure what's going to be happening here. Before I expand more and theorize and predict what I think will happen in the episode, I'll quickly discuss the trophies too. The trophies Whispers, Shoreline, and Leader are used to describe the 3 acts that will take place in Broken Toys. The first seems like it'll end after choosing whether to take a Whisperer or Guts approach to invading the Delta. Considering the Delta, or at least part of it, is on a boat, the Shoreline trophy could be unlocked following the siege, I guess. As for the final act related trophy, Leader, I genuinely have no idea what this could even mean for anyone. The final trophy each episode follows Clementine's growing path. At first, she was just Erickson's protector, but then she grew into its defender following episode 2, and now in episode 3 I guess you could say she officially becomes the leader considering this trophy. The best girl trophy makes me think this will be the last we see of Rosie. She hasn't been seen in any of the leaks or the trailers, so I presume she'll either get left behind at Ericsson's to do whatever she wants really, or she will die sometime in this episode. I imagine the Mercy trophy will be associated with James in some way and not killing walkers. Nightlife seems like it will take part after this specific screenshot, and All Seeing seems like it will take part during the telescope scene. Personally, I hope the Did You Lick It trophy will be a callback to that infamous season 1 moment, as a mouse could be in relation to sneaking into the Delta as a walker, but if that former section in the trailer actually was about the ranch, maybe this trophy is actually about sneaking into the ranch to save AJ. While Tally sounds like something awful will happen, I wouldn't be shocked if it was a trophy you triggered after looking at a tally on a wall or something else. The last 2 trophies are related to the collectibles in this episode, which I guess will be fun. Initially, I was going to offer some big theory consisting of everything that I think will happen during Broken Toys, but after a while it just seemed a bit impossible to do. Instead, I'm just going to offer a few smaller theories, or predictions I guess, about the upcoming episode. Who knows, maybe I'll even make some of you think a little differently before you play the episode. First of all, I definitely think this episode will be full of deaths and also a lot of questions. I think Asim, Omar, Lily and Ten will all definitely survive this episode. I'm expecting James, Ruby, Willie, Dorian and Celine to be killed sometime during this episode, with the confirmation that Sophie died sometime during the war or while she was at Delta. As for determinant characters, I predict that Abel and Minerva will have the potential to be killed via choices, and most interestingly, I think Clementine, AJ, Lewis, Violet and Rosie's fates will be unknown once the episode ends, but a little bit more on that later. I've seen quite a few people on Reddit speculate that either Asim or Minerva will betray the group, so shout out to those people. To be honest, I can definitely see Minerva, Asim and also Omar betray the group, but in very different ways. In regards to Asim and Omar, I don't actually think they'd do anything to sabotage the group, but I think they'd realise all of the benefits of being at the Delta and would be reluctant to return to Erickson. As for Minerva though, I definitely see her taking the role of the quote-unquote betrayer in the last 2 episodes. Season 1 didn't really have a real betrayer, but seasons 2 and 3 had Bonnie and Eleanor respectively. While the aforementioned duo started off as nice characters, I wouldn't be surprised if Minerva was a problem to begin with, considering everything she's had to endure at the Delta and how quickly her character has changed. I just don't see her turning into a friendly character. Also, I definitely think Abel's interrogation will play a pivotal role in this episode, and could even play a part in how Clementine's story comes to an end. It does seem pretty obvious that we get to decide how far we go with the interrogation, and also I know quite a few people will want AJ to kill Abel. But if AJ really does have that bullet like the slowdown clip potentially shows, do you really want him to use it on a character like Abel, someone that's basically already defeated? Ammo is very scarce in this world, and what if your decision to have AJ kill Abel leads to the downfall of another character? That single bullet could be very important to save a life rather than take one. Could you imagine if AJ has that chance to save someone else's life, like James or maybe even Clementine, but because he used that bullet on Abel, he no longer has that power to do so? Also, let me quickly share this answer from Kent Moodle during an Answer Me Anything session that happened a while back. Letting AJ be comfortable about killing could have serious consequences later into the game. Also, what I think would be more interesting would be if you don't actually get to choose if AJ kills Abel or not. Instead, I think it would be a lot better, and also quite a bit more unique, if previous decisions dictated the decision that AJ makes. The first few minutes of the game showed us that our choices will shape the type of person that AJ becomes, and this is the perfect way to prove that. Giving AJ dibs on killing Abel, and telling him he was justified in killing Marlon, would lead him to killing Abel. However, not giving him dibs, and also telling him he was wrong to kill Marlon, would result in him sparing Abel, and I guess other choices made would also play a part in this. In addition, I think we'll find out a lot of secrets in this episode. Kent again revealed that we'll find out how some of the kids ended up at Erickson's boarding school. I can see Clem learning more about Willie as he mourns Mitch's death, and there may even be a scene 2 of Ruby while the characters walk through the woods. Also, I can definitely see a big heart-to-heart exchange happen between Clementine and the person you saved towards the end of episode 2. For example, back in episode 1 we learned that Lewis sympathised with us when it came to killing a loved one, so we may be able to find out a secret there. Also, I think this will be the episode where we find out the truth about what happened at the Macara Ranch with AJ. Last but not least, to expand a little on my fate predictions from before, this episode simply has to have a massive cliffhanger to build up hype for the final ever episode. Season 1 had the confirmation of Lee getting bit, Season 2 had the showdown between the cabin crew and Arvo's group, And Season 3 concluded with Kate crashing the armoured truck and the invasion of probably the biggest herd we've ever seen in this game. I have no idea how this episode is going to end, but it just has to be big. This isn't necessarily what I want to happen, but just imagine if they left the most important characters' fates unknown once the episode ends. Clementine, AJ, Violet and Lewis are quite easily the most crucial characters in Season 4, and I guess creating uncertainty around their fates going into the franchise's finale would be a pretty good cliffhanger. But anyways, I feel like I've discussed, theorised and also predicted a bit too much now, but I guess that just goes to show how much I love this franchise, and also just how excited I am to play Broken Toys when it releases on Tuesday. But anyways, what do you think is going to happen in Episode 3, Broken Toys? Why don't you comment down below with your thoughts, or even respond to this video over on my Twitter, or Reddit, both at @ByJohnSmith. But anyways, thank you for checking out my latest video. Why not check out another one of my videos and subscribe while you're at it? But regardless, thanks again for checking out this video, and I hope you have a great day.